Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. We're going back to New Mexico to a place called Truth or Consequences.
When I started planning this trip, I really did not know anything that was going to happen in New Mexico. All I knew is we were going to loosely follow Interstate 10, and while looking at maps trying to find cool places to go, I spotted a town to the north of I-10 called Truth or Consequences.
Let's be honest. Do you just like the name?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Had no idea what was there. I wrote an itinerary, a loose itinerary for this trip, and when I got to that part, I thought, I'll check the itinerary and see what I had in mind for this. It just had a bunch of question marks. I had no idea what this town was, why it's named that way. I still really don't know much about it. What I didn't expect was that we would find the most charming, peaceful, beautiful state park. Our minds are completely blown here.
We got to Truth or Consequences a bit burned out.
Totally.
We'd been in a lot of cities. We'd been moving really fast. I like being in nature. You like being in nature. I was getting concerned about my training. And Phil found this great campsite at Elephant Butte State Park. And it was everything we needed to revitalize the trip.
We were able to plug in the shore power, so we had electricity. We didn't have to worry about that at all. We had fresh water. There were even showers, which you may or may not have recognized that's a luxury for us on the road. We haven't gotten a ton of those on the road here, so it was a perfect place to hang out. And then in the meantime, there's an 11-mile trail that runs the entire west side of Elephant Butte Lake, and it's been a perfect training ground for us. What an amazing trail. We've run a marathon of distance on it. And before we get into the whiskey today, and we do have a fantastic whiskey, you do not want to miss this, I just want to share one of these runs that we went on. Well, when you're running, you don't really notice it so much, but this is a very windy place. So even though it's super peaceful and beautiful, this time of year, apparently the Southwest gets very windy in the springtime, and that's exactly what we're dealing with. So we are in the van for this tasting, and the whiskey that we're trying, we came from El Paso. We just did a Texas whiskey tasting last week, but this is something special. Andalusia Whiskey Company, Stryker, spelled with a Y. I said this before, they mean business. You can tell when you start spelling things with a Y. This is Texas smoked single malt whiskey from Blanco, Texas. And this is one of Whiskey Advocate's 2021 Whiskeys of the Year. And I do trust Whiskey Advocate most of the time. They usually lead us in the right direction. This is, they call it backyard barbecue whiskey at its best, my friend. How about that?
I like it.
Don't you feel like we're fast friends with everybody from Blanco, Texas just
now? It feels Texan.
Yeah. This is aged 3 years. Yeah, obviously in Texas you don't have to age things for too long. But this is smoked with oak, mesquite, and applewood. Mm-hmm. Now, we've not historically been the biggest fans of smoked whiskeys, but something about the South and Southwest, we are finding some amazing smoked whiskeys that are blowing us away. And yet another single malt for the American Single Malt Van. We're going to change the name of the channel here one of these days.
Of all the bottles and all the whiskeys you've tasted on this trip, this is the one bottle you wish you would have picked up a backup.
Yeah, I wish I would have picked up a couple backups of it. By the way, this is 100 proof, and you can see on the bottom of the screen some more specs, what we paid for it, etc.
Not to give it away that we like it.
Yeah, we're just burying the lead there. But let's get to the nose and a tasting here. I am so excited about this one.
I'm gonna be honest, it smells like a barbecue.
It does, but not like in a smoky,
No.
in-your-face, intense way Mavis is playing in the laundry bag.
It smells a little bit like a smoked cherry.
Yeah, and it's so pleasant. It's not that super crazy, intense smell that you would expect on something that's smoked with 3 different types of wood. It's just so well balanced, and yeah, I was just going to say it again, that it's not intense. I'm just going to say it one last time. It's not intense. It just smells approachable.
If you didn't know anything about this, you may be a little nervous drinking it, but don't be nervous because, spoiler alert, it's delicious.
Don't be apprehensive. Don't be afraid. Take my hand, whiskey tube. We're going to enjoy some smoked American single malt whiskey together right now. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. It is everything the bottle says it's going to be. There is a smokiness to it. There is a little bit of...
Mavis just stole a cereal box and ran off with it.
But there is a smokiness to it. There is a little bit of grilled fruit there.
If I didn't know better, I might think that this was a Scotch whiskey. That grilled pineapple, the grilled apricots, peaches, the fruit presence is so sweet on top of that smoke. That's the prevailing flavor here. That smoke, it's there on the finish as a gentle reminder, like, hey, there's something unique about this whiskey. But on the palate, you're getting very nice, bright fruits. The zing of that strawberry, it has no right to be this bright. This whiskey has no right to be so bright when it contains such a smoky attitude on the nose that, again, at first blush, if you're not into smoked whiskeys, you might take a whiff of this and go, I don't know if this is going to be for me.
Right.
But it immediately settles down on the nose, and it's almost not even there on the palate, that smoke. It's so gentle. Cat is out of control.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I think I've probably said everything I need to say about this whiskey over and over again. There's a brown sugar finish on it that's beautiful. The cherry comes back on the finish. Just a great whiskey.
But it does have that cocoa, almost like a coffee note to it. There's some distinctive single malt flavors in there.
Yeah.
I just find this really unique.
It's unique. It's hugely flavorful, but it's so approachable and so beautiful.
It makes me smile.
Yeah, I was going to say, the word that keeps popping into my mind, delicious. It's
Delicious.
just delicious. It's truly fantastic whiskey. Highly recommend it. The cat doesn't like it, but she doesn't like whiskey, so it's not Andalusia's
Still
fault.
gives it 2 paws up.
Maybe that needs to be the new rating system for the bourbon van. Well, this is a fantastic whiskey. I do wish that I'd bought more of this, and I highly, highly recommend this. I think it was $55 we paid for this, and absolutely worth every dollar. We have paid double that for some whiskeys that were not nearly as good as this bottle. So if you see this bottle out and about, trust me, this is a fantastic whiskey. Well, we've talked a lot about this whiskey and how much we love it. What we haven't talked about yet is the tiny little town, the actual town of Truth or Consequences.
We were only there for, a couple hours.
Yeah.
There's a brewery there. You gotta love a town with a
Solid brewery,
And it
yeah.
was solid. And then we went for pizza, and I got the green chili, which apparently you have to get in New Mexico, is these green chilies. The green chili cheeseburger pizza, which sounds disgusting, but all the reviews said you had to get it. I wasn't disappointed.
She hasn't stopped talking about this for a while. After a week of camp food, pizza and beer, and it was all good, I still don't know why exactly they call it Truth or Consequences.
Me either.
I think I read something that said that they decided to change the name of the town just to draw interest and see if they could get people to come there.
That's sold.
Yeah, mission accomplished. You got me there. It worked. So, fantastic time, though. We've had such a restful and peaceful week here in Truth or Consequences, at least in the greater metropolitan area. It seems funny to say that because there's like 60 people that live here, but we had such a nice time. And we're now heading back to Arizona. We're heading to Tucson. Julie's got a work meeting there, so we're going to go that way. Next week, we'll take you along for a day in the life. You can see how we spend our time there, and you get to watch Julie run her marathon there as well, which will be all kinds of fun. But before we go, we went for one last run, and we're going to take you along for that.
Today we're doing 8 miles at Elephant Butte State Park. It's the West Lakeshore Trail, and this is a multi-use trail. Bikers have to yield to hikers, and both of us have to yield to, oh God, rattlesnakes. We're at the 4-mile turnaround. It's feeling great. I kind of wish it was one of my long run days. This trail is fantastic. It's got a little bit of everything, little elevation, little sand, little gravel, and beautiful views. But we gotta turn around.
Boo.
Boo! But there's lizards and bunnies!
Yay.
Blast this week. I've had such a great time here, and I'm sad to leave, but the van must keep moving.
Yeah, that's right. Keep that rig rolling. Well, next week we will see you in Arizona. We actually don't know if we'll sip anything or what we'll sip, but one thing that we do want to try and find while we're out there is an Arizona bourbon. We've never had one. We're overdue. From wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers. Don't sleep on this. Tomorrow we say goodbye to New Mexico, and I thought it was only appropriate that I drink a UFO. Ironically, not from New Mexico. I feel like that's a huge miss, but we leave New Mexico. We've had a great time here over the last couple of weeks, but we're on to Arizona, where I run a marathon.